Before we begin today's story, take a quick moment to subscribe to my channel and tap the notification bell. Here I share real, emotional stories about family, love, and the quiet moments that change lives forever. If you believe small choices can reshape entire futures, you're in the right place. Now let's begin. Emily never could have guessed that an ordinary November evening would quietly alter the course of her life. Seattle was wrapped in its usual gray hush that night. The kind of evening where the sky seemed unsure whether it wanted to rain or simply linger. Heavy and low, over the city, a thin mist clung to the streets, and the air smelled faintly of wet leaves and cold pavement. Emily's day had been unremarkable in every way. Work meetings blurred together. Emails piled up. Dinner had been planned but not yet started. Laundry waited patiently in a neat stack by the hallway, untouched and unimportant. Life felt predictable, controlled, almost carefully balanced. That balance shattered the moment she opened her front door. Standing there, beneath the porch light that flickered softly in the drizzle, was her younger sister, Claire. She looked smaller than Emily remembered. Thinner. Older in a way that had nothing to do with age. Claire stood gripping a modest suitcase, her knuckles pale. Her shoulders slumped as though the weight she carried was far heavier than what rested beside her feet. For a split second, Emily forgot how to breathe. Her chest tightened with emotions she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Surprise, concern, confusion, and something sharper, something buried deep beneath layers of time and silence. The soft patter of rain tapped against the wooden porch like a quiet reminder that this moment couldn't be avoided. Claire lifted her eyes slowly. They were tired. Not the kind of tired sleep could fix, but the kind that settled into a person after disappointment upon disappointment. "Can I stay for a while?" she asked. Her voice barely rose above the sound of the rain. It was a simple question. But Emily heard everything that wasn't being said. The fear. The uncertainty. The story Claire wasn't ready to tell. Emily hesitated. Not because she didn't care, but because the past still stood between them. Years of unresolved arguments. Words spoken in anger and never taken back. Long stretches of silence where both sisters pretended they were fine without each other. Family, Emily knew, had a cruel way of reminding you that no matter how far you drifted, some bonds never truly disappeared. She stepped aside and opened the door wider. "Of course," she said quietly. Claire exhaled as if she'd been holding her breath for miles. As Claire crossed the threshold, warmth replaced the cold. The faint scent of cinnamon candles filled the hallway. Something Emily had lit earlier without thinking. A small comfort for herself that now felt oddly intentional. Claire's gaze wandered the familiar walls. It paused on an old framed photograph near the stairs. Two sisters younger smiling without restraint, arms wrapped tightly around each other. For a moment, regret flickered across Claire's face. Emily saw it. And felt it. Before either of them could speak, footsteps echoed softly from above. Michael appeared halfway down the stairs, a folded towel in his hands. He froze when he saw Claire. Confusion crossed his face, followed by understanding. Emily met his eyes and gave him a subtle look. Later, Michael nodded without question. He turned quietly and headed back upstairs, offering them space. That was who he was, calm, adaptable, grounded. Normally his presence soothed Emily. Tonight, her thoughts were too loud. Claire set her suitcase against the wall and attempted a smile. It was fragile, hesitant, and didn't quite reach her eyes. "You must be exhausted," Emily said, guiding her toward the guest room. Claire nodded, brushing damp hair from her face. The guest room light clicked on, filling the space with a soft glow. The bed was neatly made, untouched for months. Emily had never imagined it would be needed like this. Claire stopped at the doorway. "Thank you," she whispered. Those two words hit Emily harder than expected. Gratitude carried weight when it came from someone who had nothing left to lean on. Once Claire settled in, Emily returned to the living room. The house looked the same. The furniture hadn't moved. The heater hummed softly, but something felt undeniably different. The past had entered with Claire. Michael joined her, setting the towel aside. "What happened?" he asked gently. Emily shook her head. "She just needs a place to stay." Michael didn't press. He placed a steady hand against her back, grounding her. That night, After Claire had gone to bed, Emily sat beside her husband, the room lit only by a dim lamp. The weight in her chest grew heavier. "Something's wrong," Emily said quietly. "And I don't think I can handle it alone." Michael took her hand. "You won't have to." She asked him to be patient with Claire, to be kind, to help her feel safe. "I trust you," Emily admitted. I'm scared of failing her." Michael squeezed her hand. "We'll do this together." Emily finally exhaled. She didn't know then that this quiet agreement, this promise, would change everything.